man. Hey, listen. Without further ado, somebody please bring on my man Ken Davis from NBC Sports Chicago. Somebody please bring that man in. Ken, man, first time on the show, man. You know I really appreciate you being here, man.
I
With all
appreciate
my
you
heart,
having me.
thank you, man.
I appreciate you having me, man. Look, I always appreciate anybody that wants to talk a little bit of Bears and spend some time with me. And also, you've been down for a minute, so how dare I not come on here? Like, you got to support those who support you. Like, what's the purpose? You know what I'm
That's it.
saying? Like, if
That's
it's
it.
not reciprocal, and it's not even reciprocal, like it has to be, you do this, I do that. But when it's a vibe and it's something good, why wouldn't you be like, yo, for sure? So, yeah, man, I got to come down here.
We appreciate you, man. I thought I was gonna have to send you a couple of cases of PBR or something to get you to come on.
No, not at all. Not at all, man. It's just scheduling has been crazy. And I'll tell you this, the weird thing. I also think because somebody was pestering me in my DMs, because I still don't see how I didn't see your DM. I just happened to be in there and was like, wait, his hasn't been open, right? And I was, no, you know what it was? I was like, man, when am I supposed to do that? And I went and I looked and I was like, shh, damn, right? So I was like, man, look, my bad. Because the last thing, especially, I would do is, especially somebody I rock with, is leave somebody unread. Like, I didn't say nothing. I'm not that dude. I felt extremely bad because I wouldn't want anybody to do anything like that to me. So, again, I apologize for that. And, man, I'm happy to be here, bro.
Hey, man, no apologies needed, man. We appreciate you, man. I didn't feel any kind of way about it. I
Thank you.
knew that eventually you'd say something to me. So I mean, I know you can appreciate me. I've been around everybody's chat. You know, I support everybody, man, and that's what the community is all about.
Yep.
It's washing each other's hands, scratching each other's back, man, and that's what we aim to do. You know, just look after everybody. So, no, I couldn't wait to get you here, man, because out of all the people that we have on the show, you always can't always you don't come at it from the rosy glasses standpoint. You try to keep the temptation, I mean the expectation down just a little bit. I'm excited about this team, but give me your real sense of, because have you been on the grass yet? Have you went out there?
Nope, I have not. Just full disclosure,
Okay.
I have not been on the grass. So most of the stuff I'm getting from Josh and from Alex. And you know, this past Wednesday, every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. and they rerun it all the time on NBC Sports. You can watch the Under Center podcast. This week's guest was Herb Howard, so make sure you go and you watch that episode. So something like Herb too. But I plan on actually being at training camp more than I was last year this year. So I'm gonna trek my ass all the way up there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a journey. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna take my ass up there. But no, I have not been. So I do not want to lie to you fellas and give you some BS like I've been up there on the grass, because I have not been on the grass whatsoever.
Ken, whatever you do, please take any kind of copious notes and bring them some nuggets back. These fans love. It's almost like they depend on you guys to paint the picture because you guys get to be there. Just any little thing that you could tell them. Hey, I saw Dieter Iceland getting starting reps at center or not. You know what I mean? They
Right.
really appreciate those little nuggets like that. So
Yeah, man.
So based on those guys' reporting, what really stands out to you about what they've been telling you?
You know what? I'm a juxtapose it, because it's funny that you said everything you just said a second ago. I remember a lot of the stuff that Alex and Josh was telling me last year, and you know, I'm still a fan, so I want to be an optimist. But I remember them saying like, "Yo, this offense, it looks bad," and a lot of balls was hitting the ground. And you know, you want to. I'm like, part of me like, yeah, I'm rooting for Justin. So I'm like, man, whatever, you know, whatever with all that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure Herb's gonna say, look, Tyreek Stevenson seems like he the real deal. This last week or week and a half, Tyler Scott has improved. The first Tyreek Stevenson was locking his ass up. When it comes to the offensive line, I mean, you know, they in shorts. You know, Nate Davis is doing Nate Davis. Whoever Nate Davis is doing Nate Davis. I think, this is the one today. We did football night in Chicago, Josh and myself. They're really big on CJ Edwards and Jermaine Edmonds.
Yeah.
They're like, the height is what sticks out. I don't know if we're going to get turnovers, but, and again, I mean, this could be heresy, but you're getting another big dude to play that middle, like a guy named number 54, was playing that middle and playing back and, you know, getting a lot of tip balls and stuff like that. Hopefully you mess around and you'll get those interceptions and those tip balls. We'll see, because he hasn't been that player so far, talking about Edmonds, but hopefully it'll be that. That's pretty much kind of it. You know what I'm saying? When Bayless has looked better. Bayless has looked better now since he's been at camp. And Justin and DJ Moore are doing their thing. And they feeding DJ Moore a lot, especially since the other guys aren't necessarily there. I think that's pretty much large majority of it, of what I've been told, outside of guys looking huge, like Javon Dexter looks crazy. And the same for Tremaine Edmonds. They look like, when you see him, like, damn. I remember being at camp, training camp, like 5 years ago, probably 6. I remember the first time I saw Martellus Bennett up close, and it was like, that's a different type of build right there. That's a big ass dude. It makes me think about perhaps like Tremaine Edmonds may look to these cats, but that's kind of all the information that I've gotten out of my guys these last 3 shows, because they only get 1 day to go up there during OTAs. Okay. So they're not up there through the whole entire week. 1 day out of the week they get to come and watch OTAs.
Hey, whatever, however many days they get these. If you can bring any of those notes back to Nomad Live, they are gonna appreciate you guys. I'm telling you, man, they really depend on you guys. They're very dependent on those, whatever reporting you guys bring out. You know, I know a couple of disagreements happen about what you report. You just telling them what you see, and everybody's not gonna always like what you tell them, but tell them anyways, whether they like it or not. That's how I feel about it. Yeah. But to my producer, Chris, by the way, when Herb pops in, I'm not gonna be able to see him, so I'm gonna need one of you guys to bring him in. But no, back to that comment about Tremaine Edmonds. I don't know if you ever heard me say it, but I played in the 4-3 in high school and in college.
No.
And yeah, he when they tell you he's a multiplier, having a guy that big and that fast in the middle of your defense, that's real. That's a very real multiplier in so many different ways. Somebody that's long like that and can cover ground as fast as he can, that's going to make defenses are going to get a whole lot better. Number one, offenses, quarterbacks are going to have a hard time going to their first read and then jumping to the second read. He's looking at the quarterback's eyes. So I'm telling you, whatever you thought about the Bears defense last year, yes, we do have rookies up front and they're not proven yet, but I do think they're going to bring something to the table that we didn't have last year, without question. They're going to be, I think, a force, especially in the run. When they start getting their pass rushing chops under them, it might take a few games, might take half a season. But once they start getting that rolling, you know, then you're going to see a whole different defense with those monsters playing behind them. That front seven is going to look really good, and the secondary is going to really benefit from a front seven that can really attack. You know, so, you know, Ken, what do you think about this whole free agent market or trade market with at defensive end? Because to me, I come from the angle of, you know, as a coach, if you were thinking as a coach, you would be thinking, you know, maybe we shouldn't make a move on a DN right now until we see what we have in pads. You know, once they get on the grass and pads, let's see how good they're getting to the quarterback, doing it with any kind of consistency. Let's look at that first versus, you know, we may not have time to look at those guys in pads. Daniil Hunter, you know, for per se, you know, might not be available in the next couple of weeks. Right. So where do you come from on that side of things?
You need to go out and get one of these dudes.
Make a trade, huh?
No, I'm going more free agency. Because let me say this. First of all, I love me some Patty. What's up, Toreen? But look, let's think it like this, because this is a problem that we're in. One, we're Bears fans, so we're mad because they've been neglecting us forever. All right, let's just not get it. Let's be honest. They've been neglecting us forever. And now I want everything rushed and fixed and proper. I love when Poles came in. He said, I'm going to rip it down to the studs. I'm not going to try to build off of a faulty foundation and try to prolong holding on to these players when I know they're not going to be here when it's time for us to win anyway. So it's going to be harder earlier rather than us going through a lull because I pushed now and then I had to redo everything. On top of that, if Justin is a really good quarterback, I have to re-sign Justin. So everything is ripped to the studs. So nothing is going to be where, and of course, it's a lot of parity in the NFL. but the odds of them going from 3 wins to like 11 is extremely rare, to be honest with you. So in saying that, and the reason that I say that, I don't think Ryan Poles would want to give up a lot of equity in doing something to help the team this year. As far as, okay, I'm about to give up a draft pick, and then not just give up a draft pick, because it's the thing we always talk about, man, let's go trade for so-and-so. Guess what? If that team he wants to leave is not going to sign him, you're going to have to sign him. So you're just not trading away equity when it comes to value in a draft pick. You're also giving up cap space because now you have to sign that guy. So it's twofold. So with me, all right, if we're going to grow this slowly, just go out and get one of them ends. If Yannick Ngakoue, one-dimensional ass, wants 2 years and an option, just give it to him. And I'm not saying he's the end-all, be-all, but at least you have someone who we know is a professional edge rusher. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be like, yo, grab 2 and give one a 1-year deal. And that's me, smoking and talking. I'm joking. As you said earlier, y'all got me anyway. But still, no, I would say don't trade unless the trade is like, I don't know, one of these players and you can give up that to me as highest as maybe a 4th, and that's pushing it. I wouldn't go out. I mean, because okay, let's even say, the rumors, and I know you didn't mention this, but the Chase Young thing. First, I'd be so afraid of Chase Young because why the Commanders don't want him, and they got his medicals. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know something. You know what I'm saying? If they I know they lucked up because I don't know if they really meant to sign. I don't know if they intended to sign Daron Payne 2 years ago. I think he may have been the guy they viewed as, you know what, if this goes the way we think it's going to go, because he wasn't getting those pressures back then like he did this past season. We may let him walk or we may tag him and then see what happens. But when Chase Young went down and he jumped up, it's like, well, we got to go with the healthier player here, and they signed Daron Payne. But I just don't think the Bears should give up something crazy where this year they're not in contention to try to make this year the end all be all. I don't think they should do that, especially if Ryan Poles is trying to build to the draft. Because this is the thing: after next year's free agency and next year's draft, then we come for him. And I like Ryan Poles, but I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had 3 years and 3 drafts, and in 2 of those drafts, you had top draft picks where we don't know what next year's picks will be, but you have 2 in the first round next year. So you'll be able to move around and do whatever you want to do. And then in free agency, now most of your holes are starting to get filled. So it's not one of those things where the cupboards are bare and it's like, man, we just got to do whatever. No, now you're supposed to be filling in holes and there's not as many holes, and you need to be hitting on this type of stuff, because in year 4, you definitely should now be trending to the point where in the weak ass NFC, where this team is actually going somewhere. So I don't want him to do some knee-jerk reaction right now and go up and give a lot of something to go get a player who may not even be the player that we necessarily think we need, but we're stressing it because we all know we need an edge rusher here. Because look, if they were that good, the team would have probably signed them and kept them long-term anyway, if we're talking about through the trades.
Well, I know my co-host got something to say on this. And before y'all get in there, I know, Sam. Hold on. But I come at it from this angle. And I'm always going to lean back into listening to what the coaches say, what the GM say. And I've heard multiple times, if a guy comes available, we'll either, sign some guy in free agency, or we have the means to make a trade. So I do believe both options are on the table. And I do believe that there are fits out there, one being Jadeveon Clowney in free agency. Forget all the stuff everybody's got to say, oh, he's been injured. Forget all that stuff. He can bring something to the table. But I think the guy, and if I was Eberflus, I'd be standing on the desk in front of Ryan Poles, like, get me Daniil Hunter. He's the absolute perfect fit for the situation. And I really don't think, as bad as that record was last year, and the reason why I would support a move like that is because as bad as that record was last year, it's the amount of games we were competitive and had a chance to take some teams out with probably a C- D level roster, at best. When you have a team that competitive and you just turn over a roster like that, looking at it on paper, I'm feeling really good about their chances to really be impressive this year. I don't have a problem saying 11 wins whatsoever. I feel good about saying that. I think they can really make some noise this year. based on the amount of veterans they have. Justin's in his second year of the offense and sounding like he's feeling really good, bringing them some weapons. He doesn't have to do so much because he can dump the ball off now. I think, be honest with you, I think it's going to be the surprise team in the NFC.
From your ears to his, from your mouth to his ears. I will hope so. I just don't want to get myself that geeked up when, it's football and they still have holes. And for instance, everything you said about those linebackers when we were talking about that and the defensive backs, I'm with. That defensive line, man, that's a lot of questions when it comes to that defensive line, man. So I can't say that this team looking at that, and that's the real thing. One, looking at that defensive line now can get 11 wins, and then the flip side of that, I'm going off of what they're saying to say that offensive line is going to be stout. It may, particularly throughout the year, we know how these guys get hurt. So that's where I got to take a step back and look at what they have. You're right. They were in a lot of games last year, but a lot of teams were in games and, they either won or they weren't a team that was able to win a lot of those games. And hopefully this year they'll learn to win a lot of those games. But at 11 wins, I don't see them getting 11 wins.
You got PTSD, bro. My
high is 10. My high is 10. You're right. I'm a Bears fan. Of course I got PTSD. Look, forget the Bears. I'm a Chicago fan. Of course I have PTSD, dog. This is the biggest place of I'm gonna do it in your face, and you still gonna come give me my money, right? This is the biggest place of that. So, and also, okay, let's go back to what you're saying too. Now, when you're saying that they said, the trades are available or, free agency. And I think both are available, but I think how much the equity they're willing to give up in the trade, I think they more hemming and hawing there because they don't ever want to tell us as fans like, nah, I'm not going to do that. That's off the table because people would be up in their arms with how dare they're not really trying. You know what I'm saying? That would be the whole thing that people will be saying if he's really like, yo, I'm kind of waiting to see how this year goes. And next year, is like I was saying earlier, is when I'm going to know what I got, particularly even going with what he has in that quarterback. But yes, I do have PTSD because I'm a Bears fan.
So Danielle Hunter would blow your wig off right now, wouldn't he? A Danielle Hunter trade.
How much would go? So you talking about an in-division trade?
In-division trade.
So do you know what you would have to give up to get an individual player? Like, that's dog. No, I wouldn't.
Second, maybe.
Yeah, probably. They
probably a second.
In the division.
They might take a third and a player.
Maybe.
Who's the player that they're gonna want that we wouldn't need? That we would give up them to kind of get juice the pot up. That's just the only thing. We're talking about an in-division trade for a cat. And yeah, if they could get him for the cheap, yeah, I'm with it. Like I told you, a fourth would be, and I'm stretching it when I say a fourth. A fourth would be where I would stand at if I wanted to make a move. And I think he's more valuable, probably. I don't know what his contract is like than a fourth round pick. If he's on this last year, that could be different.
All right, let me quit tussling with Ken because me and him gonna wrestle all day long.
It is what it is.
Let's bring in my man Herb Howard, man, from Biggs Media, man. How you doing, Herb?
What's good? What's good with y'all? I'm good. How y'all feeling?
Man, thank you for showing up. Man. I appreciate having you, Herb. Man. How's life, man? How's Big Media, and how was that trip, man?
Oh man, all is well, man. Nothing to complain about on this side. Just as my homeboy say, I'm burning the candle at both ends. You know what I'm saying? So super busy at work, still trying to keep a personal life. So it's a lot going on, but I ain't complaining, man. I'm all good.
My man. So you just came in in the wrestling match, man, because Ken.
Yeah, you sound real ambitious, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. That sounds very ambitious. Like 11 wins sounds very ambitious. I think in terms of wins, like I think 10 would seem like a high ceiling to me. That would seem like a ceiling to me. Like I couldn't see that like going higher than that. I think the Bears will find themselves somewhere in the hunt column. You know what I mean? You get in the playoffs, wild card, in the hunt. I think they'll be, towards the end of the season, they'll find their name on that list. And I think that's a good spot for them this year. And I think they may even be able to sneak that into actually making the playoffs. Wouldn't be surprised to see them make the playoffs, but I would see that at a 9-8 type situation, maybe a 10-7 type situation. 11-6, 11 wins will probably win this division this year. I don't know that that's where they are right now. They've got enough frontline talent to win games. They don't have the depth. They can't sustain any injuries that they could withstand right now. They just don't have the depth right now. So that they're in that process of, building up the roster. And last year they didn't have the frontline talent. So they were tough and they were competing. They didn't beat themselves, but eventually they just ran out of talent. And, other teams would steal a game in the fourth quarter. Now I think they have enough frontline talent. But then you talk about that second wave of coming in terms of the secondary, D-line, or any injuries that it's football. Somebody going to go down. You don't want to say it. You don't want to see it, but it's going to happen. And right now, I don't know that they have the depth to withstand that if it happens at a key spot.
Wow. Oh, man. You know what, Herb? I need any of these guys, Sam, Triple R, y'all got any questions for them? Because I don't want to dominate the show. I know y'all got something to say.
That was a good point that Herb just made there about us not having as much debt. However, I think last year we showed that we're a team that's going to fight. They got good coaching this year. We got a lot going in our favor this year as opposed to last year. We had an underwhelming roster last year. This year, and even with that underwhelming roster, they fought in every game. You see bad teams that just go and they lay down and they get whooped from beginning to end of the game. We fought in every game. That's a testament to coaching and leadership of the team. So I think that carries over into this next season. I think Justin Fields being in the second year in the offense and actually having some weapons around him, and DJ Moore and the tight ends being improved, and the overall, DJ Moore just makes the entire offense better. I think that's underestimated right now. I think Justin's going to get the ball out quicker. Then we play in a last place schedule. The division is in shambles. It's pretty much up in the air. The Lions are the darlings of the division right now, but Detroit's going to Detroit like they do every year. So I'm not really going to worry about them because we don't know what they're going to be from year to year. They're just as bad as Ken says we are right now. So I have a lot of optimism about this team, man. And it starts from the leadership at the top, and the top being Ryan Poles, man. The man has a plan. I think that, he hasn't made a jump at defensive end, but I think he has a plan. Maybe there is a trade in the works, or maybe there's something else going on. That's my one concern on this team is just the defensive line and them holding up, especially at the defensive end position. But pressure up the middle is pretty tough to deal with. And we saw that last year with Justin Fields. If you get pressure up the middle, you can't step up and you can't pass. You got to roll out. Yeah,
I don't know that we have that either, though. Like if Justin Jones is supposed to be the engine of this defense, I didn't see that. You saw that?
Nah, we.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we are hopeful for these kids to come in here and do their thing. And I hope both of them are able to contribute this year. When you talk about Javon Dexter and Zach Pickens, I hope both of them are able to contribute. I really like the Billing sign. I think that's one of the more underrated signs. He's really going to help that defense, especially in terms of what he's going to be able to do in the run game and freeing up those linebackers to read and react. But I don't know that you got enough to push the pocket from the middle either. I mean, I'm hopeful, right? I'm hopeful that they're able to be, greater than the sum of their parts. But individually, there's nobody you can look at on this defensive front and say that dude keeps OCs up at night. That dude commands a double team every single snap. That dude's going to get us 10 sacks because I've seen it before. Nobody's ever seen anybody on our roster do anything like that. And right now, it's optimism, right? It's cautious optimism or whatever it's going to be. But I think that anybody will be lying to tell you that they know one of these dudes is going to go out there and get you double-digit sacks. Like, who? You know what I mean? I like Travis Gibson a lot. I thought he would have took a big step forward last year. I hope he does the same thing. I really like the dude, but nobody's ever seen it. Nobody's seen it from DeMarcus. Nobody's seen it from Rasheem Green. Nobody's seen Dominique Robinson do this. Nobody's seen none of these dudes do this. So, we're hoping that they can, but to bank on it is optimistic.
Very much so. Trip, you got something?
It all through my head hearing Ken and yourself, Nomad, going back and forth earlier was the song "I Will Survive." I will survive. Hey. Because as Bears fans, we have seen it go from sugar to shit and stay shit for so long. And Ryan Poles, he has talking all the good stuff, and his potential is there, but like Herb is saying, what we're seeing from this team is based on potential. The rookies need to come in and not be rookies, so to speak, for this team to progress at their positions. Room wise, running back, we get, I think, better as a whole. Wide receiver room, just the addition of DJ Moore helped a lot with that. Linebacker, we should be good at. Secondary, a cornerback, I think we're right. Safety is like, offensive line is,
It's
you know,
no. It's a no.
So, I see 7 to 10 wins is
I'm right
good.
about that.
If they get to like 11 to 12, to me, that's an overachievement. So that's a good thing. To
That's
whereas
Coach of the Year and Justin winning MVP. That's Flus winning Coach of the Year and Justin winning MVP.
That's it. That's it. Right
but if you project 11, 12 wins and they fall to like, 9 or 10, now it's a disappointment. As opposed to a building, growing, getting to know each other, gelling together year.
Man, I wish y'all would just say it. Y'all scared. Oh, y'all scared.
Nobody's scared. We just reading what it is. So I'm looking at the brother Cornelius in the comments, and he's like, "Herb, we got depth here, we got depth there." And I think me and the brother Cornelius have two different definitions of depth, right? You talk about O-line depth.
There's none.
Right? If Darnell Wright goes down, Braxton Jones going down, you right back at Larry Borum, right? You right back at Alex
Leatherwood.
Like what when you talk about depth, what are you talking about? When I think depth, I'm thinking, okay, we got a swing tackle that if he got to come in and give us 3 or 4 starts, he can hold up over there, right? I don't feel that way right now about Larry Borum. I don't feel that way right now about Alex Leatherwood. So I don't know when you talk about depth exactly what we're looking at. I mean, you talk about competing on the inside, you're going to have Tevin Jenkins and Cody and Nate Davis, and then I guess right now you're assuming that Patrick Lucas will be Lucas Patrick will be your swing guy on the inside, your interior guy. Oh, y'all seen him ball out? Like I haven't seen these things take place. You got Jatari Carter coming behind him. Like I don't know. So when we talk about depth, I know we know these people's names, but depth in terms of them coming in and be productive players, I don't know how we define depth.
Right, because to me, depth means you have second string guys that are pushing the starters for that position.
Right.
Now you have depth. We ain't got no place close to that.
So far,
how many teams have that though? How many teams can you honestly say have
only the good ones?
On the second team,
only the division winners at 11 and 12 wins.
I do share that concern. I do share that concern on the O-line because, again, this is all stuff that we're looking at on paper. It's a bunch of new pieces, and we haven't seen them in pads. We haven't seen them, stand up to test of time. Like Herb said, we got a nice looking starting 5 on paper, but what do we have behind that? We haven't seen that in action. So, we just doing predictions based on what we see on paper. I like what I see on paper, but that is one of my concerns is do we have a swing tackle? Where are some of these guys going to be playing at, and can they stand up to the pressures and the rigors that training camp's going to bring out of you? And so what I do like, though, is the fact that they have some cap space to pull something off if they need to. That the pads will reveal everything like it always does. Once they put on the pads in training camp, we'll start getting a real solid idea of who's doing what's what. And so that brings me to Herb, man. You've been on the grass recently, man. What's been sticking out to you as far as what you've been seeing?
A lot of stuff to like, man. I mean, first, they're in shorts and T-shirts. They're world-class athletes. They are going to look good out there right now. But in terms of the timing, the chemistry, apparently, that Justin Fields and DJ Moore have been able to develop so quickly, right? You see those things are apparent, right? And I think that you can see the timing and him getting the ball out quicker. And he's looking for DJ Moore. He has that. You can already tell he's going to have that safety blanket. So once he gets to second, third read, it's like, whatever, where's DJ at? You know what I mean? And he can trust where he's going to be and expect him to make that catch. And so that's the number one thing that stands out to me first, just the chemistry between those guys and what that's going to mean for the offense. To your point, DJ is a multiplier. He makes everybody else better, right? And so that's gonna be good for Moon. That's gonna be good for Chase Claypool. Hopefully, that's gonna be good for Cole Kmet. Everybody's gonna benefit off what DJ is able to do. You flip to the other side, and it's hard not to be almost mesmerized by Tremaine Edmonds in the middle of that defense. That dude is huge, huge. He just stands out in the middle of that field. He's tall. He's long. his length, his ability to get sideline to sideline, his ability to get deep down that middle third is a way. Something we haven't seen since Urlacher. I'm not saying that's what he is just yet, but he has that type of ability, those type of physical tools. He's that kind of rangy athlete. And I think he is going to be hugely beneficial to this defense, not only to the guys that are in front of him. I know we talk about how the defensive linemen and the D tackles, whatever, can help him and free him up. I think he's going to be able to help them too, not only by the way he thinks through the game. I can't remember who I asked this the other day, but he was just talking about like how smart he is, right? How smart of a football player that Tremaine is and the way he thinks about the game. I was talking to Jaquan Brisker, and he was just talking about how smart he is in front of him and how he sees him calling out everything else. And I think he's going to help the guys in front of him, but he's also going to help the guys behind him. I think he's going to be in those passing lanes. Those tip balls are going to turn into interceptions for Eddie Jackson, for Jaquan, for Kyler. So he's really, really impressive. He's going to be phenomenal for this defense. I can't wait to see that dude in pass.
Hey, Herb, tell him one more time. I think people might have lost a certain point you just made. How easily and fast he was able to flip and cover the other third of the field. How fast he's
got hips for that kind of size. He's got an explosiveness and the athletic ability to change direction. And so even if he takes that false step where he reads something downhill or he goes to react to run game and they pull it out, he's able to pivot, open those hips, and get back down, find that tight end or find that receiver coming across the slot really, really fast and affect that passing lane. And as a quarterback, there's no way to get around him. You can't throw it over him, and he's got a 7-foot wingspan. Like there's nothing you can do with the dude in terms of getting that ball around him. And so as long as we're able to hold up against the run to where he doesn't have to constantly deal with play action, then he's going to be a factor in the passing game. He's going to be really, really difficult for quarterbacks to find those windows. And I think that's going to help everybody. That's going to help the corners, right? You talk about all that quick slant and all that. As long as you get your hands on him, you're going to run him right into Tremaine. That window is this big. It's not there. And when he lay one of them dudes out, they're not going to want to come in there again anyway. So he's just going to be a really, really difference maker for everybody on that team, those corners, the safeties, and the D linemen.
What Herb just got through describing is a hell of a deterrent. When you're a quarterback looking down the field and you're looking for holes in the zone and lanes to throw the ball, he can hurry up and close that shit. It's what Herb just said. And so just describing that to him, I'm glad you pointed that out, man, because in a 4-3 defense, you need a guy that is a multiplier in the middle of your defense. And that's what that means. A guy that can really make, even when he's wrong, he can be right just because of his length. He might make a misstep, but he's got the speed and the length to make up for it. And so be looking forward to a whole bunch of plays being made by him all year long, man. It's not going to be always the interception by him. It's just going to be a bunch of deterrents, a bunch of tip balls, and other guys making plays. So just look forward to that, man. Ken, you got anything on that Herb just said, man?
I'm just looking in the comments. I was gonna jump to Herb's defense. I know he's a grown man, but I still, because it's the depth thing.
Herb don't need no
I'm
help.
happy to have a conversation.
I know,
I'm good. I'm happy to have it. I'm happy.
It's not, because it's the thing. It's like, dude, of course we love the Bears. You know what I'm saying? But
me too.
Dude, one look, how many years have we the last regime, including in this regime, have had a healthy offensive line? So, and I also say this is a fault of Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles last year could have brought in 2 offensive linemen early and had them in camp and had them ready to go. And he waited to the end to bring in Riley E. Reif and Michael Schofield. And Schofield was nothing. And instead of waiting this year to see who the cast-offs are, look for some depth, some vets who still can kind of play, but know their role is perhaps to teach and do some spot duty.
Well, aren't those cast-offs as well?
I would take a cast-off if I think that they're a good player. You know what I'm saying? But the point that I'm trying to make is don't wait to find out who the cast-offs are. Like they also needed to bring in a guy that was a dude that you could say, quote unquote, he's fighting. It's all a competition. But really, in our heart of hearts, he's a guy that we're going to use as in case of emergency break glass type of guy. Because it's probably going to happen with that the offensive line. I'll get to the defensive line in a second. It's probably going to happen because there's nobody, all right, unless Larry Borum can get back to what we thought he was his rookie year, all right? There's nobody there. And Lucas Patrick is, I don't want to be disrespectful, but at this point, watching him as a Bears fan, it's a joke. I mean, he can't play guard, and his inability to play guard. And I was saying this when they signed him. This is a backup, and you guys are like, he's that dude. I have no faith in him playing center from how I saw him play guard. Now, I could be wrong. That could be an uneducated thought when I'm saying that. He could be a much better guard because he knows how to anchor there, and I mean, much better center than he is a guard. And with the defensive line, and when we're talking the pie in the sky stuff, dude, man, you better pray Walker. They caught Walker trending up. Like this is the one. They be like, man, we got him just when he was trending up because you have nothing. Like Herb said, I like the Billings signing. You don't know what you're going to get from them rookies. And the thing is, technically, if we're really being honest, they barely have one wave. And you need two when it comes to that defensive line to keep those players fresh. Walker, Billings, Justin Jones, who only performs maybe in the fourth quarter, and that's probably in just about 7 games. You don't have guys. You don't have it. I mean, it's not who getting double teamed. You know what I'm saying?
Let's we have them in the middle.
Hold on, let's pull up the defensive depth chart. I'll point out some stuff to you right quick.
Yeah, in the middle, I think we have the depth.
All right.
I love it though. I love it. I wish I could be like, I love it, guys. I'm just being honest.
Hey, what that say, kid? Prove wrong.
Prove wrong. Look, I'd be happy to be wrong.
We gotta prove
I would
wrong,
be happy
baby.
to be wrong. I would not be upset.
We gotta prove.
I think the depth chart. I think the depth chart on paper looks fair.
What's fair, Nomad? Tell me what fair is.
I mean, what you talking about? Let's look at the starters. You got DeMarcus Walker at the end. You got the nose tackle at Andrew Billings. You have the starting 3 tech at Jones. You got Travis Gibson. Here's my problem. I don't know that I'm starting Justin Jones at 3 tech. I don't know.
Which one of those dudes starts on a good defense?
Who?
That part.
Which one of those dudes starts on a good defense? Which one of them dudes can go to Philly and crack the rotation?
I think given a fair chance.
I'm talking about starting.
I think DeMarcus Walker can push somebody. Honestly, I think he can push somebody. I think what Ken just got through saying was, and I've looked at his tape extensively, he is really trending up. This dude made a lot of plays whenever he got a chance to get in the game. It's like when he got in the game, it was instant turbo. He was making plays. And so I think they got him at the right time. Why I say that is because he spent the first few years of his career, just being moved around from they trying him at end, trying him at 3 tech, just moving him around, trying to see what are you. And I think Tennessee figured out something when they just decided to. Most of his snaps came from inside. And so
I don't even disagree with you, Nomad, but that's still hopeful. I'm hopeful too. Like, I'm not saying I think these dudes are going to be terrible. I'm hoping they're going to be good. I'm saying there isn't a person walking this earth that knows that.
No, you're right about that. But I believe. So,
okay.
But now let's not get too far from perspectives, because a lot of us are looking at it from, the fan perspective. We want all the top name guys available. D-Hop's out there, bring them in. Ngakwe's out there, bring them in. But we have to look at it from their perspective. Do they want to come to a rebuilding quote unquote team, or do they want to go someplace try and ring chase? Or do they want to go someplace that will give them more years on a deal than Ryan Poles is willing to? And from the perspective of Ryan Poles, hey, I'm a professional scout, man. I got Ian Cunningham, my man, professional scout. We gonna roll the dice on our department and our research and development and go with some of these young guys, because I'm more of leaning toward that for defensive end, instead of bringing in a Clark or Ngakwe or a Clowney. I'm not a fan of trading away any picks for anybody, because now you're reducing your future flexibility, which is one of the main things Ryan Poles talks about. And secondarily, I want to go with guys like D.A. Jones. See what we got in these young, undrafted guys.
I'm glad you mentioned him. I just want to throw that in there. He looked good.
Who is
that? If they give us 4 to 8 sacks,
Anthony Jones. He moves really, really well.
Thank you, Herb. Thank you.
Nah, he moves really, really well. Pads will tell when the pads come on, but you can just see his movement skills out there right now. The way he goes through the bags, the way he's able to bend, the way he's able to swipe and strike, and then reset and bend that corner. His movement skills are different. Now you got to see his power and all that when the pass come on, but that dude can move for real.
That I'm glad you pointed that out, man, because I think, individually you can look at this depth chart and you can pick holes and individual what's this person done, what's that person done. I think it gets lost on people that what can they do together as a collective. You know what I mean? And that's what a team defense is all about. What can you do as a collective? Can you get some push up the middle? Can the edges crush while you're getting a push around the edge? What can they do as a collective? It's never an individual sport when it comes to this kind of thing. You can have, and what it looks like on paper is you got no better than, basically as of now, you got no better than B players on here. You don't have A's yet. Right. You have A's you can develop, but as of right now, you have no higher than a B. But what can that B do in the collective? And so, you can make yourself if you like. I heard the story that Dominique Robinson was working with Robert. What was his name? Robert Mathis, ex coach, edge rusher. Man, I went straight to his tape when I heard that and started really studying his tape. And he's got a couple things that he can really offer that guy to really help him improve his game. And if he spends enough time with that guy and some little subtleties of what Robert Mathis did, I can see him turning the corner next year, man, because he didn't. I mean, people get on him right now because he didn't get any sacks, maybe one, two sacks last year. But got to remember, the guy has been playing the position very long. So when you start talking about guys that I look forward to seeing when they put the pads on, can he turn this corner? That's a guy I'll be watching really hard, man, because I think he can. He's got the athletic ability to be able to do it. He really hones and just refines his skills a little bit with a guy that's proven to be able to do it. I think he can bring something to the table that we can't foresee.
Yeah, he's got a lot of things he can coach.
Yeah. Right. I'm just going to say we talked a lot about, the linebacker group being improved and the secondary being solid. That back seven is going to help that front four too, because now quarterback's going to hold on to the ball a few extra tenths of a second that gives them an opportunity, so somebody to maybe bat the ball down before he throws it, get close enough get close enough to put your hands up. And I think that's what the Bears are banking on, especially in the middle. And we also got the big bodies now to stop the run. So like Herb said, so we get the opportunity to rush the passer more, because last year we couldn't stop the run, so we didn't know what was coming. This year we got all this beef up the middle. We got Billings, we got Jervon Dexter, we got Pickens, all these big guys up the middle that's gonna eat up some blockers so that we can stop the run and earn that right to rush the passer.
Okay. Let's get to some questions about let's get to those questions I gave Chris. I want to see how you guys feel about some of the guys who you think who do you think will be the rookie training camp standout, Herb? If you had to pick,
I think it's probably going to be, if I had to pick one, it's probably going to be Tyreek Stevenson. You could just kind of see him out there right now, his size, his length. He's getting the opportunities that they want him to start. They're not going to come out and say that, right? They're going to continue to say, right now it ain't a depth chart, it's a rep chart, but he's getting a lot of those reps. And he's making some opportunities, right? He's picked off Justin Fields. He's out there making plays. And so just looking at him and also understanding ideally what they would want from him, he's going to get every opportunity to go out there and win that starting spot. I don't think it'll be as easy as some other people think it will be, but I think he'll get all the opportunities. And so far, he looks like he's going to be up to the challenge. So if I had to choose one in terms of being a rookie that stands out in camp, I would go Tyreek Stevenson, number one.
For you to say that, he must have really turned your head in the time you got to spend on the grass with him. He must have really impressed you, man.
I like Jalen Jones, the undrafted rookie that we got last year. I think he came over from Minnesota. Mm-hmm. I like Jalen Jones. And so when I saw him last year, as he got opportunities later in the year, I thought he continued to get better and better and better. And I just like where he is, right? And we know what Kendall Vildor is. We know where his ceiling is. We know what he is. We know what he isn't. But because I like Jalen Jones and I don't feel terrible about Kendall Vildor, I was very curious to watch Tyreek Stevenson when he came in, because when he drafted him, it was like, that's going to be the starting corner. He's going to be the guy. And I'm like, maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe. But because of that, I have been watching him, and watching him, the first thing jumps out with him: size. He gets his hands on you, he can stop you. Tyler Scott's got great speed, but when Tyreek gets his hands on him, that rep is over. And I think that he's going to be able to do that and use his length a lot. He's aggressive. He takes chances, and sometimes that might cost him, a time or two, but then he'll learn. But I think he'll get those opportunities. And so far, he plays with a lot of confidence, swagger. He's out there dancing around in between reps. He's, what I'm saying, not foolishness, not like he's not paying attention, but like he's having fun and he's comfortable. So right now, definitely he looks good.
I got you. From what you know, Ken, from your reporting, man, from what do you who do you expect to be the rookie training camp standout based on what you've heard?
I told you what my guy said, and it's the
You
same
can have the same guy, man, but
it's the same. I open with it. It's the same thing that Herb just said. It's everything I'm hearing was Tyreek. That's what Josh and Alex bring back to me. That's it. I mean, rookie, because I'll say this though, because they are not doing anything as far as they don't have on pads. Just to go Oppo, I'll go Darnell Wright, because you're saying training camp. So I'll go Darnell Wright because he better be pretty good. All right, just to be honest. Yeah, he better be pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go with Darnell Wright. And also, I'll just be honest, when looking at the tackles, and I wanted the left tackle. Let me open up with I wanted the left tackle if they were going to take tackle. I hope Braxton Jones is everything that Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham believe he will turn out to be. I'm not rooting against him. I think at the beginning of training camp last year, I loved his interviews. He comes off like he's definitely a good young man, and really thinking about his future. Because I think he was put in a little bit of bind when you're coming from Southern Utah. Nutrition, weight room, you're not getting Big Ten SEC type of stuff. So, and then also you got to think, he's on the circuit. If you got a lot of us guys here play sports, dog. If you don't put on muscle during the off season, you're not putting on muscle during the season. All right, so you can't I'm playing every week and I'm gaining the muscle. No, you have to go in the off season to really gain that type of muscle. But so looking at the tackles, I thought Darnell Wright held his blocks the longest out of the top tackles in this draft. But I wanted the left tackle, so I'll go Darnell Wright as far as my rookie. To be a standout in training camp. I hope he pancakes blocks the shit out of a few people.
Okay. Just for the sake of these gentlemen been real good with us, man, and been real good with their time. And I don't want to keep them no longer than they need to be here or want to be here. So we'll speed through these questions. I'll just say real quick on that question, just to be a difference, make a difference. I would say Noah Sewell will be the guy that I'll be watching in that camp. I think he's a multiplier in a bunch of different ways too. And I'll be short about this. I think when you got down and distance and you need a spy on the field, especially when they run into some of those mobile quarterbacks out there, this guy is so good at spying the quarterback and spying the ball and closing and making that play and ending a play. I mean, he is elite when it comes to that. I mean that with emphasis. He is elite when it comes to that. That dude will finish plays, man. And I do think this guy's going to be special in camp. I think he's going to stand out. And I told you guys before, I'm going to tell you one more time. He's going to make the team, and he's going to play. Get the damn jersey now while it's cheap, because it's going to be expensive a little bit later on. He's going to be a fan favorite, man. I'm just telling y'all. All right, let's get to the next question. Who do you think will be the vet standout? Anybody 2 years or better? Go ahead, Herb.
Well, while they think on that, let me just say I hope that it's Travis Gibson.
Okay.
You know what? This is simple.
Who you think? I ain't saying who you hope.
This is easy. I'm gonna go with Justin Fields. Everybody, you want them to get 11 victories? Listen, if he snaps, the world is the Bears' oyster. If he takes 2 steps, forget a big step. If he takes, I'm about to cheat a little bit. All right, I'm about to cheat because this is twofold. I'm going Justin, but for Justin to take that step, DJ Moore is gonna have to be everything he was in Carolina and even more. Now that he has a steady quarterback, because he had banged up shoulder Cam. So even when Cam was there, he wasn't MVP Cam. If DJ Moore in this system where they seem like they don't want to open it up for Justin, I hope they open it up more. But if Justin and DJ Moore force Getsy to put the ball in the damn air, particularly when the Bears are down, then I think it's those two are the 2-year vets that it could be crazy here in Chicago. If y'all like if they snap, it could be crazy here. I'll say that much.
Heard.
I would go back to Tremaine Edmonds in terms of, who's going to stand out in terms of that vet. I think as camp goes along, pads come on, I think you're going to just continue to hear about the plays that he's making. You're going to continue to see him show up in the passing game, shoot the gaps in the running game. So I would go with him, but I'm very, very intrigued by the 2 young kids that's going to play next to him or play around him, I should say. That triangle between Tremaine Edmonds, Kyler Gordon, and Jaquan Brisker is going to be critical for that defense. You're going to have Bojack playing that deep third most of the time. I know we talk about cover 2, but the Bears play cover 3 as much as anything else. You're going to drop Bojack back. You're going to have Jaquan up in that 10 to 12-yard range. He's going to be kind of right behind an offset of Tremaine. You're going to have Kyler in that slot. I think the 3 of them, what they can do athletically and their physicality is going to be really, really dynamic. I think this defense, if you can get something out of this front, some type of rotation that can give you some consistency, then this defense has a chance to be, top half for sure, and maybe top third at least. I mean, maybe top third at best. I think that's what they should be looking to do. But I think that's going to start with Tremaine Edmonds, and I think you'll see that all summer long from him.
Sam.
Well, I'm hoping that it's going to be Braxton Jones, because if Justin Fields is going to have the success we all hope that he has, it's going to take for those 2 pillars on the corners to stand up, and Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright. I think the interior is going to be a little bit stronger. I think Tevin showed last year that he can ball, and moving him to left, he doesn't seem like he's complaining about that transition, so I expect him to do well there. And our free agent pickup in Nate Davis, we think he's solid too, and we know what Cody is. So hopefully, we need that offensive line to stand strong this year. If that offensive line can just be consistent and stay healthy, then I think the offense is going to be a lot better there.
I'll give you mine real quick. I'm gonna be ringing this bell all season, especially when they put the pads on and really start playing some football. But I think Velus has got a lot to prove. I think this dude is spectacular. I mean, he's so explosive. If they can get that ball to him and let him run and set up block formations and let this dude find an alley to run and be explosive, man, this dude he's going to tear it up in camp. He's going to tear it up. If they put that ball in his hands, go ahead.
I got him on the bubble. I think he makes it.
Ooh.
But if I'm being honest with you, I got him on the bubble. And it has less to do with him than the numbers, right? Like most often they've kept 6 wide receivers. They got DJ, they got Chase, they got Moon, they got EQ. They just drafted Tyler, so he's going to make the team too. That leaves Dante Pettis and Velus Jones to fight for that 6th spot. I think Velus wins that, right? Because I think he's the younger player, more dynamic. They spent the 3rd round pick on him last year. I think he has the upper hand. But if he does not have a good camp, if he goes into preseason games and continues to muff kicks or fumble the ball or drop passes, he can find himself really in danger come roster cuts down. Now, I don't think you can sneak him onto the practice squad. So I think that also gives him a leg up in terms of winning the competition, because they don't want to risk him if they don't. But just the math tells me that him and Dante Pettis are fighting for that 6th receiver spot. And if he shows himself to be what I think he is in terms of the dynamic player with the ball in his hands and what he can do in the kicking game and the gadget type things you can do with him, if he's sure-handed and knows his assignments, I think he'll be fine. But I still think he's fighting for that last spot in terms of the wide receiver room.
I'm going to push back just a little bit because let me tell you something. My worst nightmare is Velus Jones being cut and ending up on the Detroit Lions. That dude is too damn explosive, man. I just know this dude. I think out of all the guys on the team from the rookies, I think he suffered from the rookie jitters the most. You know, you hear Alan Williams talking about the RPMs, and he was just too.
Mhm.
You got all this information coming to you, and you just want to please, you want to be approved of you, and you want to play, and you get all that going on in your head and all this information, and he doesn't have good hands. That's just all it is to it. He does not have good hands, but when he can get that ball in his hand and he's comfortable, and it sounds like he's calmed down a whole lot from everybody I've heard watching the camp. Like, he's calmed down quite a bit, and he's not dropping the ball. You got that going on consistently, Bayless is going to be effing explosive. I'm just telling you, man. That's the guy I'm rooting for. So just have to put that out.
I'm rooting for him too. He's got the ability for sure. And I another kid I really like. I just enjoy talking to him, but just the math is not necessarily mathing for him right now. But I agree with you about how explosive and dynamic he is. I agree with you if he gets the ball in his hands, he could hit his head on the goalpost anytime. I agree with that. But it's all got to come together for him. And if he does, have some of those, muff punts or, drop balls in preseason games especially, I don't know how you're gonna trust him going into the game. And that's Coach Hightower on special teams, and that's Getsy on offense.
Yeah, definitely keep him off punt returns, man. But I'm cool with him on kickoff returns, in short yardage, man. And there's times when you put that ball on him, he'll catch that mug and run, man. So I just expect big things from him, and I know he ain't gonna let us down. All right, let's get to the next question. Who will be the recent free agent standout? I think Herb he made his point already with you want to pick another guy, one of the free agents, man?
I'll go back to Billings. I'll get off Tremaine Edmonds for a minute and just go back to Billings. I just think that's a huge signing in terms of everything we've been talking about. And, Sam talking about earning the right to rush the passer. Like, you got to stop the run. I think he's going to be a critical component to that. I think I want to caution people when I talk about him, because I've been talking about him a lot lately. And I think sometimes people will take that and they'll just pull out the stat sheet. And at the end of the game, they say, well, what you talking about? His stats don't say he did nothing. Watch the game. Right? Watch the game and then tell me about his impact. See how many times he's eating up blockers. See how many times he's stabilizing at the point of attack. How much he's going to free up TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds to run and flow and do those types of things. And then also his impact on those young guys, right? Can't remember who told me this, but another player was talking about how professional he is and his professionalism and just how matter of fact, it was Tremaine Edmonds. Just tell me how professional he is and how he's going to help with those young guys that are coming into that position. And so I think that was a really underrated signing. I think he's going to show up for them and be pivotal for them on first and second down. So I really like that signing, even if it doesn't turn into, X amount of TFLs and this, that, and the third. Watch the game to truly understand what his impact is.
I agree with that. Ken, man, who you got?
I'm going to go with DeMarcus Walker.
Ooh.
It better be. I mean, I look, because I'm be honest with you, this goes into why you have the job, and I'm speaking about Ryan Poles. Like, you were supposed to be this guy where you can scout. What I'm saying? It was what was Larry Ogunjobi last year, and I do like the fact that he didn't sign him, because a lot of GMs would have been like, "Yo, I'm gonna sign him. I'm gonna hide this fact and sign you and hope that you'll be right during the year." But you need to hit on these guys that you're bringing in, particularly when you didn't add anything to that defensive line. So, I mean, if everyone wants this team to be what we've been talking about and looking at in this chat, you better get some pressure on that quarterback. Your secondary can be the Legion of Doom, but if you can't put some pressure on that QB, it's only so many coverage sacks y'all gonna get, y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's just the truth. You know what I'm saying? Somebody has to be the guy that, if I get an extra second, usually I'm that guy. You know what I'm saying? So not saying he's a Pro Bowler, but when I get an extra second, I'm the guy that's getting through because of the coverage back there. You got to have somebody. So I'm going to go with Walker. I would go with Nate Davis, but he's not around. I'm joking. But I'm gonna go with Walker being the best. But mine's was Tremaine. Mine's actually was Tremaine Edmonds, but Herb did such an eloquent job speaking on Tremaine Edmonds. There's no reason for me to say anything about Tremaine Edmonds.
Well, I had two. I think I wanted to go TJ Edwards, but I definitely wanted to go DeMarcus Walker. But since that's covered, now I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna have to. Before I say this, man, I just had a brain fart, man. I just really had a brain fart. No, but Deontay Foreman, the running back.
Yes.
I can make a case as to when he was playing at Tennessee. When he's playing at Tennessee, there were times. And I mean, I'm not talking about a game or 2 games. I mean, multiple games. You know, you watch Derrick Henry get the ball and he won't do nothing pretty much for the whole game. Then later on in the game, he breaks out a 40, 50, 60-yard run. And then the defense is tired and he breaks another one off. But you put Deontay Foreman in that offense, he was consistently just tearing those defenses up, man. I think you talking about trending. You talking about a player that's trending. Include him in that conversation with DeMarcus Walker. I think he's gonna. If Herbert doesn't have a standout camp, he'll end up being the RB1 throughout the season. I think we have a real steal in our hands in Deontay Foreman. So that's the guy I would put in front of all of them.
Like that pick. Like that a lot.
You got anything else, man? I mean, we can move to the next question, man. Let's just do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got to take the comment down so I can read it. Who would be your biggest surprise player in camp? This could be anybody. Just anybody that's there. This nobody's thinking about, but just gonna jump out and people are like, damn, where'd he come from?
So wait, this has to be a player that hasn't played well enough in the past in your opinion.
No, just give me a player that's gonna absolutely that could surprise you. Who would be a guy? Like I give you one off the top of my head. I'll give you somebody like Michael Ojemudia. I think once the pads come on, there's a reason why they grabbed him during the season last year. And it's gonna go into the whole argument about whether or not they keep Jalen Johnson. I think they accumulated a guy during the season, signed 2 more corners, but I think Ojemudia is gonna. I think he's gonna stick out a little bit once the pads come on.
I'm gonna go with a guy that's been. Go ahead, Herb.
No, you got it, bro.
I'm gonna go with somebody who's been dope before. I'm gonna say, if healthy, I'm gonna go with Bojack. Like, I mean, if we're talking about this secondary being the secondary, well, which one of those players has been a ball hawk in the past? Or has shown to have that skill, that innate ability to be able to where the ball just ends up in the area around him, or knowing where the ball is going to be and be there. So I'll say that if we're talking about this defense trending up, and if Eddie Jackson's healthy, I think Eddie Jackson, I mean, look what he was doing last. And I'm gonna say this: I didn't think he was going to do that last year. You know what I'm saying? If you told me to bet on it, I wouldn't have put my money on it, because most players don't come back from where he was at. You know what I'm saying? That's a rarity for him to pull the plane out from that nosedive and the way that he did. Because it sounds like a lot of talk when you hear it's a new regime and all this clean slate, and yeah, he's buying in because both sides are trying to play, you know, said tiddlywinks or whatever. But for him to really do it and do it on the field and to become a veteran, just remember what we were saying of him about the year before, right? And to really show that he was a vet. I think, man, if that secondary is trending up, I think Eddie Jackson's going to be having a terrific year, particularly when it's time for him to get back on the street and get some more bread in the future.
You know what that brain fart was? Because I was going to Terrell Lewis and I just couldn't think of his name.
Man, if y'all don't stop with Terrell Lewis, dude, roll tide every day. If the amount of people that tell me, dog, I went back, since this is the term we all like to use, I went back to watch Terrell Lewis tape last year, right? And there was a lot of right? Like, it was a lot of, yeah, I can see his athletic ability. I didn't see him using it at Alabama, dog. It was a lot of, he was in the right gap, not he got to the gap more than, or he was so tenacious that he broke through. No, it was a lot more of that. So, dog, they got him in middle. If the guys told me last year he's supposed to play edge, they got him in the depth at the middle. Sometimes we got to stop with going too deep into the roster with these, because I'm about to look in the chat. Somebody's gonna tell me Dieter is gonna be the next guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just because I mean, I love the fact we love the Bears like this, right? But man, Bears, I'm sure fans in other cities do it. We go too deep, all right, into the roster where, look, for us, how many times? Let me just finish. How many times have we found a Mark Anderson on our team? And the reason I bring this up, so look at that. But then how many times was Mark Anderson again? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not something that most teams don't, but it hasn't happened here. So we've
had more
like,
Michael Haynes than Mark Anderson.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like
our last guy was King Hicks, though.
Yeah,
took a King Hicks when he was trending up when he came.
You're right.
King Hicks was nothing before he came.
I hope DeMarcus walked, but look, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about depth though. Akeem Hicks was going to be a starter. So I'm with DeMarcus Walker. I'm saying the same thing about DeMarcus Walker. And this is a funny thing, too, because I'm happy you brought up. Let me get back on my soapbox. I'm happy you brought up Akeem Hicks because everybody's talking about the lines of B. Dog, are y'all smoking? They had, just wait. They had 2 future Hall of 3 if Akeem Hicks makes it. They had Hicks. They had Eddie Goldman when he wanted to play football. They had Robert Quinn. And they had fucking Khalil Mack on that damn defensive line. And we looking at this defensive line like, man, I'm telling you, it's a bunch of bees on that. Nah, man, I can't do it. I love y'all. I'm not saying it's not going to be good, but we asking a lot. Hopefully 2 of these guys hit. But we like, man, everybody going to hit. And usually it just doesn't happen.
Hey, kid, you know what, man? It's easy to be that way looking on the surface, man. It's easy because can't nobody on this set right now, tell me they saw Jalen Jones and Josh Blackwell popping, but they would have been the same kind of guys. They would have been deep on that depth chart, and people would be like, "Oh yeah, whatever, man." They see it happens every year, bro. Every year.
I'm not saying that, but those guys, those guys, because a lot of times the guys you guys are talking about are guys we don't get to see. The guys you mentioned, and due to injury, I just talked to Herb the other day. I like Jalen Jones. When he was playing last year, I was like, damn, like Shuddy is out here. Shuddy new. Like I got to see him on the field. We're talking about people we never see in games becoming these players. That's where I'm like, hold on. I have no problem with saying that you can find a guy. Dude, I was a big Roy Robinson Harrison guy, right? But this is the thing. I was talking to somebody about Roy Robinson Harrison last week, and they put it on the Bears that he didn't end up being something. He left the Bears, y'all. Yes, he still ain't nothing. So I'm not dissing him. I'm saying as far as I saw the talent, I was like, yo, I like this kid.
You just say Roy Robinson Harrison ain't nothing?
I mean, as far as being the player I thought he could one day become.
Oh, man, you know he just got a bag, right?
What's the bag? Well, let me get this bag. Let me get the number on this bag.
They gave it to him when he left here.
Yeah, when he left, he got paid well.
What's he done, guys? I asked the question.
Since he's left, right. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you.
But Ken, to your point, though, Ken, when you said about what you said about Jalen Jones and who else? The other guy, Josh Blackwell from the secondary. Last year, this time, if we were talking about those guys, you would be saying the same thing. So our point is, it can't happen. Some guys can stand out, and they stood out without a pass rush.
But we saying, dog, we going deep though. Come on, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm done. Ken's done.
You right. I want to know what love is.
I knew he was gonna throw his wet blanket. Man, but that's all right. I love him anyway.
Wet blanket. I call it facts.
I love it, man. I love it. We need a little bit of that anyway, man. We get a little happy-go-lucky. I do believe in those guys I mentioned. I do believe in Ojemudia. I do believe in the talent of Terrell Lewis. I think if given the right circumstances and the right mindset, sometimes it's all timing. With different players, you might be at a certain point in your career, might be just now maturing. It's a whole bunch of different factors that go into it. I choose to be optimistic about them because I see things on tape, and when I look at it on tape, and I start thinking about the system they're about to play in. It's going to be nothing but opportunity. So I could be absolutely
that's the key
wrong.
word.
You're absolutely right, man.
That's the key word, opportunity. And I think you go back to last year and you talk about those guys who did get the opportunities when they were able to perform well in the secondary. I think that was because they had the opportunity to. That was a team that played more rookies than anybody. They got a bunch of snaps. From is that what Roy Robinson Harris got? 3 for 21?
3 for 21.
That's money for him.
Okay. He probably got guaranteed.
I don't have
it. Guaranteed like 14, 15 or something.
I thought
how much was guaranteed though? Because I know he got
probably like 14.
14.4 was guaranteed.
All he gonna get.
I thought he got an extension.
This is his last year in it.
Yeah, I think he got an extension since this.
Okay.
Nah, he ain't been gone that long.
Yeah, he
the
did get
third year he's
extended.
gone.
They got a
This would be the
potential out for
third year.
25.
Yeah, this would be his last. This would be his last year in that deal. But I think that those opportunities, I don't know if they're going to come in the secondary this year. I think if those guys you're talking about get opportunities in the secondary this year, something has went really, really wrong, and we got to change something. Either we got to change our expectations of those back end roster guys, or we got to change our expectations of our win loss record, because both ain't going to happen, right? You don't play Jalen Jones and Josh Blackwell, undrafted rookies, as much as they played last year and win games. I like what they were able to do. I thought they progressed. I thought they showed themselves well, but again, if those are you starting these dudes week in, week out against the best wide receivers in the league as undrafted rookies, that's not going to go well. So I think if we get to that level, in terms of some of those back end guys, something went wrong in this defense. So for me, when we talk about opportunity, I look back to a guy like DeAnthony Jones that has the potential to be a great surprise player, because that defensive line is not as solidified as the secondary is. The secondary should be fine. Like, we know what 5 guys should play. We know that Kendall Vildor or Jalen Jones should be the dime guy, and we know the other 5 guys. Cool. If you get, 15, 16 stars out of that group, that's what you want. You start getting much deeper than that, you can cancel Christmas on all this shit. So, but the defensive line, that's not as solidified. It's not as set. So DeAnthony Jones, if he has, those flash plays in camp and he has a good preseason, anybody could crack this defensive line rotation. It ain't set for nobody. Anybody could crack this defensive line rotation. So I just look at opportunity in terms of, who has the shortest path to the field, and I look up front more so than I look on the back end.
I think you just answered the next question, and the last question was who would be your UDFA? No, that's the very last question. But the next one would have been who would have been the UDFA that would stand out, and you just answered that, I think. And DeAnthony Jones. I don't know who do you think, Ken? Because I got somebody in mind.
I'm definitely going DeAnthony Jones.
DeAnthony Jones.
Okay. Herb done talked him up. I'm going off the expertise of Herb Howard. I'm going DeAnthony. When I hear hips, I'm gonna tell you this. I know when you speak in football language, when I hear hips opening up, and hips open up can be a good or bad thing. But when you saying that you can sit there and adjust, I'm like, oh yeah, you talking that football talk. So again, because I haven't seen these rookies, especially the undrafted rookies. So I'll be taking a shot in the sky. I'll go off with somebody that said that athletically he looks well. I'll stick with him, because I'm looking at the list here and I'm thinking about, okay, how many spots these receivers. All right, some of these guys may be practice team guys, but who's going to end up on the practice team? Who's going to get snatched off the practice team? Probably one of these offensive linemen is probably going to end up making the team, because we were talking about depth at the beginning of this podcast. But I'll go with the DM, because I hope and pray that they can get some pressure from somebody, and it'll be great to have. It'll be great to have that kind of story. The guy that came out of nowhere and did it, and we're not paying him nothing at his first couple of years, so we can take advantage of that depth.
All that depth Cornelius was talking about on the offensive line, DeAnthony Jones is going to be smoking that depth, right? He going all summer long, like, all them he running with them 2s and them 3s. What?
We talked about him a little bit last week. That dude is, and he wired different too, man. He is a pass rusher. That's his specialty. That's what he wants to do. That's what he wants to be. He has a plan. He comes into the game, or each rep, and he has a pass rushing plan every time. And then he studies the offensive linemen, and studies, remembering how they played them the last time, and studying the weight shift on the hand and all of that stuff. So I think he might be that dude then, if you saying it down, that you see the movement skills in him.
I'm hoping it translates when the pads come on. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna, put my name on it just yet, but I really like what I'm seeing from him. I love the way he moves. I stand on that. He has elite movement skills for the position. When the pads come on, that's when you got to see it all come together. But you talk about a dude going through those bags, boom, 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 and then getting to that last bag and then pivoting and coming back downhill to the quarterback. He does it as good as anybody they have on the roster. I'm not lying. Like, he's nasty with that. So if that translates into, the pads, they might have got a steal for real.
Herb, you know something, man? That's funny you mentioned that, because looking at DeAnthony Jones, when I found out that we grabbed him, I went straight to a tape. And I'll tell you what stuck out to me was how easily he was able to turn corners. it's like he weighs a certain amount and he's built low to the ground and he can dip real well, man. And that's difficult. What that is a guy he's unique when it comes to an edge rusher, man. He's just very unique. He's only like 6'1" at best, but he's gotten up to 295, and he said he's ashamed of that. But you get that guy, you keep that guy about 275, 280, and let him attack the edge, man. He's got a dip move and he's got a spin move off of it. If he feels like he got caught on that dip going under and he can spin off of it, I mean, doesn't lose balance at all. And so I saw that on tape, man, and the movement skills that he's reporting, Herb is reporting that he's seeing out there. No, that's real. That's real. That pops out on tape. As soon as you turn on the tape, when you start watching him, you'll see that. So, hey, I agree with you on that, Herb, man. I just want to see what happens. It's hard to really gauge what a player can be when they're in shorts, especially offensive and defensive line.
Right.
When they put those pads on, we're going to see. But I would go with the first guy they signed as a UDFA, and that's Michael Baskerville. Man, this dude finishes plays. I mean, they just got a bunch of what B should have come back to the show with her. Why you and Canadians going at it, man?
I love it.
No, Michael Baskerville would be the guy that I didn't think much of him until I watched this probably 2 or 3 whole games, man. He's really sound, man. And what it says to me is we have a really, really deep linebacker core, and I like that. He's going to make the team, but I think he's going to make a team as a special teamer. And if we get an injury, knock on wood, for some reason, I think he'll be a good quality backup, man, and he'll grow from there, man. But I like Michael Baskerville. Any of you guys got anything?
Got a lot of linebackers on this team, though, man.
Hey, man, we need a lot of linebackers, man. In this kind of defense, you need that depth. How many do you think they'll keep?
Maybe 6.
Count them out then. You got who you got? You got Tremaine Edmonds. You got TJ,
Jack, Noah.
Yeah.
I like DeMarquise Gates. I think he makes the team. He did a lot on special teams last year.
Right.
And Weatherford, he did a lot on special teams last year. So I think he'll be, in the competition. But I mean, maybe.
Shit,
he's got a long way to go.
What's gonna happen to
the
Louis
practice
Terrell?
squad you go. Yeah.
Terrell ain't gonna be no linebacker, man. He's gonna play edge, man. This is just them and their projections on our lads, man. I think he's gonna be playing edge. But all right,
I'm gonna go with my guy, man. Gabe Boyd, man. We need a swing tackle. Hopefully, this guy can come in. He played well at Pitt. He had some injury concerns and short arms are a little concerning to me. But the dude is what is he, 6'7" or something crazy like that. So hopefully we can see something from him, man. Maybe we need another swing tackle. I'm just not believing in Larry Borum this year. We know what he is by now, so maybe Gabe.
Man, Borum.
Y'all think it's still something to unlock in Alex Leatherwood? Y'all think it's still something that could be unlocked there?
I do.
It's just hard for me to believe that the man went from best lineman in the country, Outland Trophy, first round pick, and then 12 months later he ain't nothing. That's hard for me to believe.
It is.
I think they had him on the wrong side of the ball altogether. And I think when Poles went to the podium and he said, and they asked him that question about offensive line, one of the first things he said was, we had a problem of we were forced to play guys out of people playing out of position and on the wrong side of the ball. And I think on the right side of the ball, it's clear to me he doesn't belong there. On the left side of the ball, I think you got you something. When we start talking about swing tackle or swing guard, I think he's in that conversation as to somebody, you just need somebody that can get you out of the game if somebody get hurt. And he's experienced at playing tackle. I think he needs to prove himself on the left side at guard. And from my understanding is he's been taking snaps at left guard. Am I correct, Herb?
I can't confirm or deny that. I haven't really seen him. I don't remember seeing him have a rep on the inside. Maybe I'm not saying he hasn't. It doesn't stick out to my mind that I saw that.
What side was he playing on?
He's been playing on the right side. I've been saying Alex play on the right side, but they have been moving guys around, especially in that second unit. That second unit has been different guys playing center. You've seen, the Dieter Icelands and, Doug Kramer and Lucas Patrick and all these different guys kind of moving around. Jatari Carter's been getting a lot of those reps inside. So I don't know that I've seen him inside because you've seen so much of Jatari Carter and those guys on the inside. But I look at the kid, you see his size, you see what he was able to do in college. It's just hard. Like, I don't know if he just doesn't love the game like that or if he just forget. It's hard for me to believe he just forgot. You know what I mean?
There's something going on, man. And you definitely touched a nerve. And that's kind of stuff, telling these fans the kind of stuff you just told them, where you seeing guys like that taking snaps that's the kind of stuff they're looking for. They're trying to find out, okay, what are they expecting of these guys and where they playing them at. And I know we're there in shorts and it doesn't really matter that much right now. It's just reps right now and how many you can get. But I do know this, that Outland Trophy winner didn't all of a sudden forget how to play football and become an offensive lineman. There's something going on. I think he was on the wrong side of the ball, and I'll stick to that. If they put him on the left side of the ball, I think he'll shine.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the thing is about him right now, I think he's on the bubble because if he can only play the left side, we have a left guard and we have a left tackle. So if he's not going to be a starting left guard or a starting left tackle, if you can't you can't be that swing guy, if you can't play the right side, because what if Nate Davis goes down? We just say he can't play the right side. So if he can't go over to the right side and be effective and efficient, then he's on the bubble, man. If we got other guys who are able to, go from left to right, and that's not an easy thing to do. I mean, I struggled with that in college, so I understand.
Let him know, Sam. Sam played offensive line in college.
I played defensive end in college.
Oh, my bad.
Switching, but putting your left hand in the dirt as opposed to your right hand in the dirt, and kicking that other leg back, and you got to kick that other leg back, and it's a different situation, man. You're using muscles that you're really not used to using. Your weight distribution is now on your left hand as opposed to your right hand, and you're pushing off of the other leg, the opposite leg now that you're typically used to doing. And man, it stalled my career. I'll tell you like that. And I think that's what he's experiencing. If they played him out of position from the jump, they put him at the right side, and then your confidence gets down. And now you just can't get back on track, So
yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
anything can happen between now and the season. But if he talk about kicking inside, he's got two dudes to jump at guard, right? He's got to jump Patrick. He's got to jump Jatari Carter, and I haven't seen him inside. So I think right now his goal is to beat out Larry Borum at swing tackle, or I don't know where he's at.
I'll be looking for that. I'll be looking for details on that moving forward because I can't.
Yeah, not that I disagree with y'all. That I don't necessarily disagree that he's maybe better off kicked inside. I can't recall seeing that. And right now with the amount of reps Jatari Carter and Patrick are getting, it would seem like he would have to jump both of those dudes. Doug Kramer's been in that rotation. You know what I mean? It seems like a lot for him to climb that mountain more so than the Larry Borum mountain.
My man. Good information, Herb, man. We need more of that as much as you can bring to the table. They love it. These fans freaking love all that detail. But if there's any guy on the roster that's a starter right now that's really got a chance to lose his job, who is it? Let's go with Ken. He been quiet.
I got like 3 or 4 guys.
Dang. I want to hear this.
Oh, I want to hear this, man. Get this dude go again, man. Come on, man.
What am I doing? I'm being real.
3 or 4. Who gonna start it?
Okay, I'm gonna give you the reason. I'm gonna start off on the defensive side first, and I'm gonna go with. Look, I like Jack Sanborn, but I think Noah Sewell may get him. That's strong. He may get him as Sam. I'm right now because he's been. Look, I like the last name Sewell because of his brother. But I mean, Jack. Wait, we're supposed to like the local boy, right? Isn't that the thing here in Chicago? It's always in the article. So I'm gonna go with Jack, and then I'm gonna go. You know what I'm gonna go with next? I'm gonna go to the defensive line, and this is a lose your job, but maybe switch positions too. So one, it could be Gibson, but really, I'm gonna go with Justin Jones because at times it seems like he should be more of the run stopping end than trying to take him be the 3 technique. So just them getting more usage out of him in this last year of his contract, could perhaps he get more reps at end, particularly if these kids play well alongside Billings. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. If Pickens can disrupt, you got to take Jones out. I mean, Jones may start, but you got to give Pickens more reps if he can actually do what the three technique is supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Just starting off with someone who has the ability, it seems, coming out of college, you know what I'm saying? Still, neither one of those tackles were well-rounded in Gervon Dexter and Zach Pickens, but we know Pickens seemingly can get into the backfield. Then I'm going to flip to offensive line, and this is somebody near and dear to my heart. Tevin Jenkins, because they like dicking him around. I'm going to go with who knows what may happen with Tevin Jenkins, because I don't know what he did. I'm not saying he didn't do something, but clearly it seems like he did something from him being the only guy that was platoon last year when he was their best offensive lineman. I think anything can happen when it comes to Tevin Jenkins. I'm joking a little bit, but it wouldn't surprise me if something weird happened with Tevin Jenkins before the season or during the season.
It's the beer.
I was ready to jump on Ken ass, but I can't disagree with nothing but
Any of that.
Tevin Jenkins. Only one I'm going to disagree with is Tevin Jenkins.
I don't want it. I don't want to know, man. But it's something. There's something to it. Now, if it's he doesn't take the coaching well or he doesn't take the game serious, and I asked Herb this Wednesday too. Well, whenever he was in studio, we played it on Wednesday. And when's there going to be a time where it's a guy on here that talent overrides the fact that he doesn't necessarily do everything y'all like? Because all this kumbaya and we all gotta, I get that. As long as they're not destructive and blowing up the team and making somebody else become a player that's not following what they need to do, it's not as big of a deal to me. So that's what I'm a Tevin Jenkins guy, but it seems like it's something there, and that's why I put Jenkins out there, no matter.
Ken say you got the machete out for him, man. What's going on?
Can't disagree with that, man. What stuck out to me was when they put that promo video out for the season that they did when they were in that they were all cooking or whatever, doing a cook show.
Mm-hmm.
When he tweeted, said, "I didn't know you guys were doing this." He's like, "Why wasn't I on there?" He tweeted something like that. I'm like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Whoa!" Like, why wouldn't he be included in that? Yeah, why wouldn't
you ain't get that email, dog?
I'm like, yeah, how wouldn't he know about it? Why wouldn't he know it? At least know about it too. So yeah.
I think at the end of the day, you can make a case that he was their best lineman last year, and like just on the field, right, just on the field. I don't know that they have better. You know what I mean? I don't know if they have a better option, and so I think that it took him a while to take to the position. I remember talking to him probably around like week 6, week 7, and I asked him like, have you taken to this guard thing? Do you still feel like a tackle? I'm a tackle. You know what I mean? So like it took him a while to kind of accept what it was, but I think he did well with it. We've heard Luke Getsy say that there's more stress on the guards in this offense than any other position on the O-line, center included. So I think that, he did well there. And I think, for whatever they think about him personally, or him not being a Ryan Poles guy, or him not having super long arms, or him not, like, whatever it is that immediately had him in the doghouse at the beginning of this regime last year, I think he fought through it. He admitted that it stressed him out for a while. He fought through it, and I thought when he was on the field, he played well. So I would be surprised. I love everything you said about the defensive side, though, right? Like, you talk about Justin Jones. It wouldn't surprise me. However, whatever week 18 looks like in terms of the starting defensive line, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, I don't care what name you pull. It wouldn't surprise me whoever was there, because I just don't. There's nothing about any of them that says that dude. I feel most comfortable with Andrew Billings. I'm hopeful about Pickens and Dexter. I really hope those guys do push both of those dudes in front of them. So I mean, however the defensive line shakes out, that wouldn't surprise me. So if I had to go somewhere, I would go somewhere up there too. Like whoever starts there, I'd be like, I don't know if you're gonna start week 2, let alone week 18.
You wanna address this, Ken, directly? Hey, Ken, have I heard that boy Tevin Jenkins on the Bears channel being interviewed by Joniak admitted to himself that he had some growing up to do and his body looks great and thinks he's locked in?
No, it's nothing.
You good?
Yeah, now look, okay, are we listening? I said he did something. All right. I opened up with clearly there's something there So, but the point that I'm making is,
I'll tell you what it is in a second.
But this is the point that I'm making. If you think you have a franchise quarterback, this isn't the time to try to punish your best offensive lineman. I'm gonna put it simple. I don't even have to add any more to that, especially when you don't have really a lot of good offensive linemen. You need your best lineman out there. It's not the time to platoon him like he was the guy that was, oh man, him. Like that's where to me it's like, dude, what are we doing here? That's the point of me and Tevin Jenkins. I'm not saying that Tevin Jenkins is infallible, and some of it hasn't had to do with Tevin Jenkins. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that he's your best lineman, and he's the guy you pick on. And it's like, I get it. Even if you think this is what he needs to grow, but Justin needs to be upright.
Here's what I think. What I think happened. It's the difference between, and you guys know this. It's the difference between the dollars of a guard and the dollars of a left tackle. And I think he saw himself, and I think his agent saw him as a left tackle that should be getting ready to get left tackle money. And he probably looked at it as a demotion, going inside to guard, you know what I mean? So you probably pulled his value down about $10 million or so.
I said that a lot last year on the show.
Did you?
That was one of the main things. One, I said going from left to right, he's losing money. Then going from tackle to guard. All right. So that was one of the biggest things that I said. Because I try to look at it from, if I was in that position, how would I feel and what I'd be thinking about. And if I was Tevin Jenkins and one, they should have never thrown him in at straight after draft at left tackle. But that's a discussion for another day. But yeah, I'm just in agreement. That was the same way that I viewed it, Nomad.
No doubt about it, man. So I mean, I would feel a certain kind of way if I was Tevin Jenkins, but I think from that point of last year when it started happening, and there was probably some discontent there, man. I naturally, if anybody's being honest with themselves, sitting here right here on this panel, they're gonna say, "Hey, man, I was planning on being. I'm gonna play left tackle. That's where I need to be at. I want to protect Justin's blind side. That's where I expect to play. Have I done anything to make you believe that I can't play left tackle? It didn't even come down to that. I'm sure it was just like, man, this is where we need you. We just drafted
Braxton that spot in minicamp.
Right, right.
First time we saw Braxton out there with the vets, he was running with the ones that left, and I was like, yo. And so I just wrote it off early. I was like, well, they playing around, they're trying to find their best five. This is the time to move everything around. Got back again later. I mean, that was OTAs, and you get back to minicamp, he's still there. Like, damn. Get to training camp, he's still there. They bring in Riley Reeve. He hold him off. It's like they really, really like Braxton Jones, and they don't really like Tevin Jenkins. And then he had the injury, and he was out for a long time, and that didn't either. And he wasn't in the right mental and emotional space. You could just see it on him. And at some point, it clicked for him. He was like, I used to talk to my girlfriend about it almost every night, and she would talk him through it. And shout out to her because something pulled him out of it. And eventually, he just, hey, it is what it is. I'm gonna play right guard, or I ain't gonna play shit. So he played right guard, and he played it pretty well.
Let me ask you a question though, Herb. Did he play awful football at the left side? Because I remember looking at him, as a rookie, especially, he had a few bad plays, but overall, I think that dude played some real good football at left tackle. I just didn't see bad football from him.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. I just think that a new regime came in, and whatever they like in tackles, he didn't possess. I don't know what that is. You know what I mean? Other than long arms and athleticism and this, that, I don't know, right? But they saw it in Braxton, and they didn't necessarily see it in Tevin. And I do think some of it was just about motivating him. I do think some of it they want to just push his buttons and see what type of dude he was. And honestly, he didn't respond well initially. And then later on, he, responded well to it. So I think that he's been through the fire a little bit. He's been tested, calloused, if you will. And I think he's fine now. I think he's just going to be a pro. He's going to show up. And I think he's going to be a really good player for them. He is nasty, man. Like he's different. He's different than a lot of those old linemen. You can just see how he finishes things. You can see the physicality that he punches with, even when they doing individual drills and it's just old lineman on old lineman, they just doing sets and punches. He punching. You know what I mean? He just different. I think that you get a couple of those guys. If Darnell Wright is like that too, then that's what you want. You need some dudes that's just gonna finish 15, 20 yards down the field, burying dudes, coming late to the pile, smacking anybody just standing around. Like, don't stand around this pile because 76 coming, 58 coming, and they not just coming to pick somebody up. They coming to put you down first, then they're going to pick that guy up. Like, so I like what he brings. I actually wouldn't mind seeing him on the right side. I think that could be nasty if them two maulers on the right side, you just run that thing down their throat over there. So I wouldn't mind that either, but I also don't want to keep playing with him like that either. So let him settle in, whatever. But I wouldn't mind seeing them two dudes next to each other.
I like the thoughts of that. I just would say this, and even if Tevin Jenkins sees this or never sees this, man, I appreciate you, bro, for taking it on the chin like a man and taking it in stride, man. You know what I mean? Just, taking it and not making a fuss of it and being a man about it, being a team player about it, because we know that that's not what you desire to be with your career, or the position you wanted to play. You played the team role, and I appreciate him for that, man. I think the team is going to benefit for wherever they put him at, wherever he lands at. The team is going to benefit from it, and I really do appreciate that, man. That could have went real bad, and he didn't allow it to happen, man. So I appreciate that about him.
Be the best guard you can be, dog. That's all I can say.
That's it.
Hey,
Quentin Nelson getting paid.
That's what I'm saying. Be the best guard in the league, you're going to get paid like a tackle. So that's it.
In the chat, somebody wrote, Mike Gundy said, as soon as you say Mike Gundy, I'm out.
I'm out too.
So I'm out. Like, I'm out. I'm gonna believe in what Mike Gundy has to say about something, even if he's
fooling with him. I ain't fooling with that cat, man.
Nah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with y'all, but I will back up Dante on this. I remember Mike Gundy, his press conference right after they drafted him, and he said what stood out to me most was he said, if Tevin Jenkins decides to be great, he will be.
Mm-hmm.
And that just told me that I know the kid got the ability. I've seen him flash it, but I also know that you got to hit the switch on him. And like I think we've seen some of that with him. And I think that I think Ryan Poles and them tried to come in. What's up?
Not the switch, not Mike Gundy hitting the switch on him, Herb. Not Mike Gundy.
Had to, man.
I think Herb is right. Hey, Herb, do you think they touched the right buttons with him? I think they did.
At this point.
Yeah, I think they did. I think they wanted to test him and see what he was made of like that. And again, initially he didn't respond well. He went in the tank. Then he had an ankle. Then it was like whatever. But I think, ultimately he came out of it. And so you just got to give him credit for that, right? These are young kids, man. They coming in, they 20, 21 years old, and some of them still emotional and not, quite ready for this pro world. That's all these expectations and all of that. And so I think that some of that just kind of weighed on him, but I think he settled into it. And to his credit, I think he's become a really good pro. And I think, again, he's a really good lineman for them. So he should be a key component to what they want to do.
I love it, man. I do believe that he is the best O lineman on the team. I ain't gonna say it's not close, but I think he's the best offensive lineman we have on the team, and I think he's flexible. I think there's really, other than center, I don't think he can't play anywhere. I think he can play anywhere on that line but center if they needed to, and that's what it all boils down to. In a pinch, when you need to get out of a game, you need to protect the lead, you need to finish a game. Do you have guys that can move around and get you out of a game? I think they have multiple guys like that. I think Tevin Jenkins is one. I think they're growing a few. Somebody like Alex Leatherwood. I really do hope that they are able to find the right, whatever they need to motivate him and get him going.
To push his buttons,
man, dude,
because he was different. I mean, he's a different dude. And I like just watching him in like the locker room when he first got there. He would just come in and he would sit like in his locker. You know what I mean? They got, how lockers like deep, and he would sit in his locker with his headphones on, his head down, and he's not talking to nobody, not just us. Like he'd tell us like, nah, I don't want to talk. Cool. But he ain't talking to nobody. You ain't talking to the dude locker next to you, him, Tevin Jenkins, Michael Schofield, All their lockers was right there. He ain't talking to nobody. Now he warmed up to them a little bit later, but he was just a different dude. So I'm just hoping for him that he's more comfortable this year. I'm hoping the same thing for Chase Claypool because they just didn't quite seem to be quite comfortable in the position.
Hold up, you talking about like when he first got here, or when you talking about?
Alex?
When he first, yeah.
I'm talking about the majority of the year.
Oh.
Like he's a different dude. I ain't saying bad or whatever. He's just reclusive. You know what I mean? He just
introvert. Huh?
You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that translates like. With the guys in the game room or at the crib. I don't know, but just watching him, and it's a lively locker room. They all playing, they all joking and cracking jokes, and they talking stuff. And it's offense and it's defense, it's linemen, it's receivers. But him deep in his locker, headphones, head down.
I think you just touched on something right there. It just definitely sent my antennas up, man. Because a lot of people have been trying, and I know the fans absolutely love the fact that you just shared that detail. Everybody's been trying to figure it out. What is it? What is it? He's just made different, and it sounds like he did. It's one of those people that you gotta do a little bit extra in order to include him into the group. He didn't feel part of the group because it's just the way he's made. I know many people like that don't feel like when they get into a new circle or they get into a new place and they ain't so fast to warm up to everybody, and it takes a certain amount of getting used to before they get there. And so I can appreciate that in my life experience and know that once you can get him there, once you can get him to the point where he's a part of the group and feels like he's part of it, it's important that he feels like he's part of it. Once you can get him there, everything else starts blossoming after that, and he starts opening up. That's very important right there, man. What Herb just said.
The first time he said something to me other than no was I know some people that I'm close with that knows him well, and so when they would tell me he was coming, he was like, yeah, and they would ask me about him every day, and I'm like, yeah, the dude don't talk to us. Like he don't seem like he don't want nothing to do with us. And they like, well, talk to him about this or talk to him about that. And they mentioned told me about his dog and how close him and his dog are. And so I just walked past him one day, like, man, how your dog settling? I knew the dog's name. I was like, how the dog settling into the new crib? And he looked like what? I was like, he was like, oh man, the dog walked the band. I was like, oh, you do speak. Like, you understand? So shout out to that little inside plug that unlocked that just a little bit. But even that was just it was just that. Like it was still like, all right, I'm back in my cubby hole in here.
So Herb just got through describing. I ain't gonna keep this show going that much longer, but Herb just got through describing what it's like to have to unlock somebody. He just proved in that conversation that everybody's not the same. They're not gonna act. I guess what's the right word for it? You don't act. Yes, to what you being a part of. He was just basically tossed to the wolves, and this team picked him up. Now I got to play my role for this team. I don't know none of these cats in here. All I know is I got to play my role. I need to keep my check coming in. I'm not gonna come in here tripping, but I ain't finna talk to everybody because I don't know what's about to happen to me next. They might cut me in 3 days. All that kind of stuff goes through people's head. They're normal human beings. Just everybody's just not made the same. He's made a little bit different, and you hit the right word, Herb. If you can find a way to unlock that cat and get him open in this, I hope he's different than what he was when he first got here or the rest of the last year. Whenever you guys go back in the locker room, I got a feeling he's a little different now. But I hope he is. I don't know that.
I just hope he is with his teammates. You don't want to talk to us. Yeah. That's your choice. You feel me? Like, cool. But I hope he's just more one of the guys. If just as an honest observation, he didn't seem like one of the guys the majority of last year.
Man, that's a bunch of good information. Herb just broke that right here on Nomad Live, man. Just gave us some more to think about, man. He's somebody needs to assimilate, man. That's what you need to think about when it comes to Alex Leatherwood. Somebody hopefully is assimilating well with the team, getting along, and everybody's, he's understanding his role, and he's getting a little bit more open and probably closer to being unlocked. And that's what I hope to see happens out of Alex Leatherwood. I'm wishing him the best, And thank you guys, man, for showing up. All you guys in the chat, man. I love you guys, man. It's been booming all night. Everybody, man. We was never gonna be able to get to all you guys' comments nowhere in hell with all these people on the stage, man. But get at us in the comment section after the show, and we'll do our best to keep that conversation going, man. Herb, Ken, man, listen, get your plug in, Ken, man. I need to know what's going on at NBC, man. Give me a damn job.
Yeah, all right. Let me know what job you want. I'll see if I can hook it up.
Water boy.
I can't do that. This upcoming next Wednesday, we're going to have on Sean Spencer, the defensive line and co-defensive coordinator from Florida, the Gators, University of Florida, I should have said, to join us to talk about Javon Dexter. And that's at 5:30 p.m. Again, this week, we were fortunate enough to have Herb to join us, and we had a great time, and he was on there looking just flies, you know what. So you can always, check us out on NBC Sports. You can follow me at That's Davis. And again, I appreciate you gentlemen, bringing me on, and everybody in the chat. And also, everyone seemed like it was pretty cool, but definitely no hard feelings. We just talking Bears and talking some football, and it was a great time being here with y'all.
My man Ken, man, I appreciate you being here, man. It was fun. We needed a different perspective, and you brought that. It tempered some people's expectations, but I think they fought you, and they're going to keep fighting you. Come back on and fight them back, man. Do it again. Do it again, bro. Hey, Herb, what's going on at the Biggs Media, man? Tell them what's going on.
Now, first of all, thanks for having me. Absolute pleasure to hang out with y'all, talk ball with y'all, man. It was fun. Very well-informed panel, but also you got a well-informed audience, so they had a lot of good stuff to say, and I'm happy to go, back and forth about my opinion and yours. It's fun. That's what good sports talk should be. So shout out to everybody that was in the chat. As far as keeping up with what we got going on, I cover the Bears for the Biggs Media. You can follow the Biggs at It's the Biggs. Keep up with everything everybody's got going on. People like shout out to Terrence Tomlin, Eugene McIntosh. They killing it on their respective beats for the Cubs and the Sox. Shout out to my guys Drew and Josh doing their thing with the Bulls beat, and Jada doing her thing with the Sky. So we got a lot going on. Just keep up with us at It's the Biggs. You can follow me personally at Herb Howard 411 on Twitter.
Hey, all I know is that the Nomad Live team appreciates both of you guys and can't wait till you guys come back. I know the chat, all these fans love you guys, giving them details, man. Just appreciate your presence, man. Appreciate the love. That's the way it should be out here, man. They all love you guys, man, and I'm glad to be able to be in a position to put you guys on the platform so you can talk to them, man. So, hey, Trip, what do you got, man? You got any closing words?
I got real quick, Herb, where'd you come up? Where'd you grow up at?
I'm from the South Side over East. I went to grammar school, 1st through 8th grade on St. Third and Jeffrey at Bryn Mawr. I went to high school with Whitney Young.
Okay, all right. Oh, Whitney Young, Dolphins, right on. Real quick, I got 3 questions for Ken and Herb. Quick fire questions. Harrow's or Uncle Remus?
Come on, man. I just told you I'm from the South Side. Knock it off.
No, you already. You better know better.
I mean, we're not answering that, bro.
Okay.
That's actually disrespectful.
All right, Limbs or Leon's?
Limbs for me.
It's Limbs for me, but I heard about Leon's. I ain't ate it.
You know what? I'm gonna go with, I'm gonna kind of go honest with you, neither.
Okay, fair enough. All right, and the last one, Isola's or Queen of the Sea?
I gotta go Queen of the Sea. And I gotta go Queen of the Sea because every time, especially when I was driving through in high school, I'd be like, damn, what's steamy as hell? And at first I was like, growing up, I'm like, is that like a seafood buffet? Why is it Queen of the Sea? But just to look over there now, see that Riley's over there, but just to think about Old Stoney, I gotta go Queen of the Sea, man. I never ate it, but I gotta go Queen of the Sea because that's a historic view right there.
Okay,
I'll go with that too because I never really ate them. I do like shrimp. I like shrimp from Goose Island and DeCola's.
Okay,
I'll do more.
Let me bring this let me modernize this question for you, Ken. Because I'm sorry, Herb, because Ken is of that generation I am. So, Sharks or J&J's?
You better say J&J. It's a shark right out there at your mailbox, man.
Yeah, I guess I would say J&J just because that's more often where I went to for the party wings. You'll get the 50 pack or the 100 pack or whatever. So I would go J&J's for between those two.
Okay, right on. That just a fat boy question from the South Side for you.
All right,
hey, for sure.
Let's get these dudes up out of here. But I do got one more little last one, man. Ken, man, give me the best thin crust in the city.
That's a hard one.
Let's go South Side then.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't. Most of the places I feel like I go to, they don't hold the same standard. So I don't even really want to plug a spot because I mean, I'm a thin crust dude. I'm not saying I won't eat deep dish, but I'm never like, yo, I need some deep dish pizza.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Look, let me age myself again. I got my favorite one. It doesn't exist now. The actual this brick and mortar one.
Right.
All right. So across the street from Bryn Mawr, there used to be this Reggio's. When I was a little kid, on Saturdays, my pops would go down there to that Reggio's and get one of them wide ass pizzas, like just big. Me and my brother would stack a plate, just grab a bunch, stack a plate, and run into a back room and watch TV. Just from nostalgia's sake, from that Reggio's, not all Reggio's, just that one was my favorite one growing up.
So I'm glad you said that, and I'm my answer is hands down Italian Fiesta. It's Italian Fiesta all day for me. But mentioning that Reggio's, I remember when I was a shorty. I'm talking like preschool, kindergarten. My mom used to come pick me up, and almost every day we'd walk from the school, go into that Reggio's. I get a slice of pizza, and she used to let me get an RC. And I used to drink RC. And man, you couldn't tell me nothing. My slice of my RC from Reggio's? What?
Always. That's the thin crust soda.
I haven't had that since I was probably like 12 years old. My uncle brought
you got to run it back, man.
Man, I got to have me some. But that was like some of the best pizza I ever tasted in my life. Seriously, man, that was some good stuff, man. But hey, man, thank you guys one more time, man. Thank you guys. Thank the whole panel. Thank you guys in the chat, man. It's been great. I think the fans enjoyed it, man. And so you guys are welcome on here anytime you want to be here. Just let me know. You always got the door swinging open for you, brothers. And so on behalf of Nomad Live and the whole Nomad Network, peace. See you guys next Thursday, man.